I became a surrogate mom for my best friend, and now I regretted my action and I want the children all for myself. My best friend Alice and I were very close in our first year in high school, and immediately we became inseparable as we were always seen together during lunchtime and during any other events. As fate will have it, we're both very smart students and we're always among the best 5 positions at the end of each term after examination results were released. We were each other's keeper and we always had each other's back no matter what the situation was. Our parents soon got to know about our friendship, and during the holidays, I was either at Alice's house or she was at mine. I loved her dearly and I felt she did too. We planned to attend the same university after high school, but unfortunately, that didn't happen as Alice's parents wanted her to further her education in the USA. Well, we were both sad about this new development, but there was very little that we could do at this point in our lives. So Alice traveled to the USA for her university education, while I got admission into one of the best universities in our country here in Nigeria. Distance didn't separate us as we were always in touch, texting and calling each other almost every single day. We were like lovebirds that couldn't get enough of each other. Fortunately, Alice's parents will always buy plane tickets for her to travel back home during the long vacation, and I was always looking forward to seeing her for our reunions during such long vacations. I believed I was always excited and looked forward to her coming home much more than her own parents were. After 4 long years in the university, we both completed our courses with honors, and Alice's parents recommended me to a very big firm, and that was where I met Prince, who later became my husband. After dating for 2 years, Prince asked me to marry him, and that was how marriage life began for me. Immediately after marriage, I had 3 children after 5 years, though we didn't plan to have children right after marriage. But like they say, life happened. At this point in my life, I realized that I was really fertile. So anytime that I did jiggy, you know what I mean, right? I need to be super protective, or I need to protect myself very well, otherwise I could easily get pregnant. So I was always vigilant with my sexual life with my husband. Alice, on the other hand, went ahead to further her education with her master's degree program, and fortunately, after her master's degree program, she also got married to the love of her life. She traveled back home to Nigeria for her traditional marriage, and it was really colorful and beautiful, and I was so happy for her. Unfortunately, after 10 long years into her marriage, they were not able to have children. They did all the medical checkups both at home and abroad, but to no avail. They even had 3 IVF, but they were all unsuccessful. At this point in our lives, I was really worried for my best friend Alice because I loved her so much, and the last thing that I wanted to see her go through was sadness. Unfortunately, while I was worried about the problems of my best friend, my husband fell ill and sadly died. It was the most excruciating pain that I felt in my entire life. The pain was so hard to bear because I didn't see it coming. But what made the pain a little bit less was when my best friend Alice took a break from her work and marriage life, and she traveled all the way from the US to Nigeria to be with me for 3 good months. Wow, I was truly grateful for her presence but for her love and affection during those difficult times in my life, I wouldn't know how I could have handled that painful situation in my life, though my mom was also very supportive during my low moments. So a year after my husband's death, my best friend Alice invited me for a visit in the USA, and that was how our lives changed forever. After spending a few weeks with them, I realized that my best friend was going through a lot physically and psychologically because of her inability to have a child, and that was when I made the most atrocious proposal to her. I told her that since she was not able to get pregnant naturally, I would like to carry her pregnancy for her as a way of being her surrogate mother. But when Alice heard this, she laughed so hard and asked me if I was crazy. But I told her that I thought thoroughly about it and I was really ready to do anything just to put a smile on her face. Unfortunately, she declined the offer, saying her husband wouldn't agree to the proposal, knowing the close bond that we had. But I insisted that I wanted to do it for her because I loved her so much. Unfortunately, her husband outright rejected the offer and explained that they would rather look for a total stranger as a surrogate mother if they had to get one. But of course, I didn't give up. I continued talking to Alice's husband until one day he agreed to allow me carry their children. So without wasting time, we started the medical checkups and everything was perfect. So we finally booked a day for the IVF proceedings. But a day before the IVF proceedings, I came up with a very crazy and a difficult idea. I told Alice's husband that instead of paying so much money on IVF, I would suggest that I should rather do it naturally with him since I knew I was so fertile. Of course, he declined the offer at first, but I told him that all we needed to do was to keep quiet over it and we didn't have to let Alice know about it. I also made him understand that all we needed to do was to convince Alice that I got pregnant through the IVF process, and after the child was born, I will disappear from their lives and that will be the end of the story, so they can live their lives happily. Well, he eventually agreed after I persisted and persisted. So that was how I slept with Alice's husband, and that was how I got pregnant for Alice and her husband later on. Alice was so happy about finally having the opportunity to be a mom. After 9 months, I had a beautiful baby boy who looked just like his dad, and life was going on so well for them. I then permanently relocated to the USA with my 3 children, and after 2 years, I convinced Alice again to allow me carry another baby for them via IVF, which she agreed. And again, Alice's husband and I repeated the same process, and now they have 2 beautiful baby boys. I have decided to stay away from their marriage, and things are moving on quite well for my friend and her husband, which I am really happy about. Then this year, Alice decided to throw a birthday party for her first son, and my children were obviously invited for the party. Unfortunately, my first son and another boy got into a fight during the birthday party at Alice's house, and my son accidentally pushed the other boy into their swimming pool. Unfortunately, the boy's head hit the edge of the pool, and before he was rushed to the hospital, he unfortunately lost his life. Alice later checked the CCTV footages, and according to her, after checking the CCTV footages, the entire fight wasn't an accident. It looked as if my son had premeditated the murder of the boy, and so she wanted to turn in the CCTV footages to the police in order to protect herself and her family, since the accident happened in her home before the police found out themselves. I have been begging my friend Alice for this to destroy the evidence, but she still insisted on presenting the evidence to the police in order to save her family, since everything happened in her home. And now my fear is that if she presents the CCTV footages to the police, my son will go to jail maybe for life, and I am really scared. Yes, indeed, I felt sorry for the dead boy's family, but at least I expected my friend to also protect my son, especially when he said that it was just an accident and he didn't plan on killing the boy. Alice still, however, insisted on presenting the evidence to the police. So I have also come to the conclusion that if she reports my son to the police, I will also tell her everything about how her two children came into the world. And I will also do anything in my power to take those children away from her, since she doesn't feel anything for me. I don't also feel anything for her. I also feel anything for her at this moment. Besides, I did not sign any legal papers about my surrogacy in order to help her have children. Besides, she hadn't paid me anything for carrying those precious children for her. So essentially, those children are mine too. Would I be doing too much if I decide to tell her how I got pregnant for her children? Or should I just shut my mouth about how those children came into the world, even if she also reports my son to the police? Or I should just allow sleeping dogs lie? I know that revealing that sensitive information about how I got pregnant with those children can destroy her marriage as well. But at this point, I am so angry. I feel so angry about the decision that she wants to take. Therefore, I also do not care about her happiness now. Wow, what a story. This is even too much for me to say what I think about the whole story and its details. Guys, what do you think about every aspect of this story? How many of you ladies will be willing to carry your friend's pregnancy just to save their marriage? And what do you make of she telling her friend about how her children came into the world? Is this information even necessary? She should just allow that part of the story die, since she did it out of love just to save her friend's marriage? Should she just leave that part of the story to die, since she did it out of love in order to save her friend's marriage? What will be the legal representation concerning those children later on in life? Can she come back and then claim these children as hers? I really want to know the legal representation of how she can take those children away from her best friend. What are your thoughts? Kindly leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And please, please, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification for more stories. And now our word for this story is execrable. Execrable is an extreme bad situation, or a situation that is horrendous, awful, or horrifying. For example, living conditions in the slum were execrable. So please do well to watch my other videos, and please don't forget to turn on your notification, like our videos. Thank you so much for watching, and please, please, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave us a comment. I'll see you in the next video. It's bye, y'all.